If you're not
If you're not
comfortable, cause we
comfortable, call
talk
it
up
up.
the things them. Nobody stay about cause we not back from them. We full of speech, but we don't come for fool them. Lift up the knowledge cause we there so for school them. Head teacher case speaks as long as it hot. No topic, no safe pon the media pon spot. Respecting at the classroom, you know where it's at. Head teacher K and our graduates a shot. Cease and second make we angle that. Pull up.
Wagwan, graduates. How are you all doing? I hope you are all well. Big up on a nice, clean self. Hold on then, let me do the necessaries. Big up on a nice, clean self. We are in for a hell of a live today. Let me see who is in class before I get started, okay? What may I tell you? What a situation. What a situation, what a situation. But we are going to have a serious discussion. But first, let me make people know that I am here. I want to make sure that my wrenches are in the house because you're going to be needed tonight. Tonight, you are going to be needed. So I have to make sure that everybody is present. 41 are on the jump on already. My God. Good evening, Vanessa. Good evening, Lovelace. All right, my wrenchers, them there. Now, ma, big up yourself. There's one wrencher that I'm looking out for that I don't see yet. So let me message her because I do not want her to be absent from class, right? So hold on. Oh, she's here. Okay, big up yourself, Dawn. How is everybody doing? So we are going to go into quite an explosive live, right? Present. Okay, thank you for marking yourself on the register. Big up yourself, Shelly and Quran in the house. Hail, Herika. Big up yourself, Sunshine. Hi, Colleen. All right. This is going to be something else, graduates. Let me lean in close. What a situation on Wayne's Live last night. I have made my notes, and trust me, I did this manually. I was so in tune that I sat there with a notepad and a glass of wine because I did not want to miss a single beat on Wayne's Live last night. I was there from beginning to end and certainly observed not only Wayne's commentary, but also the comments that were made under his live. And the reaction of the public was very fascinating indeed. One of the things I'm going to say is this. In this particular live, we are going to be discussing the things that were exposed on Andre Stevens, the infamous owner, or rather the boss, of Pawdna TV. We are going to also go into the rationale behind Wayne's behavior on his live last night and the things that he said. This is going to be a very objective class. So, if you know that you are one-sided in your opinions and perspectives, and you're not willing to open up to different and alternate perspectives on this live, please keep by your finger. If you know that you intend to come here to be disrespectful and to tear down either Andre or Wayne, your comments will be deleted and repeat offenders will be blocked. Not muted, blocked. We're going to control ourselves in Head Teacher Case class tonight. We're going to control ourselves because I think it is fair that we really and truly take in exactly what was said with an open mind. Now, some truths are going to be discussed here because I also think that despite what has happened, Wayne needs to hear them. All right. I'm going to take off the camera because I want to know focusing on my voice, not my face. All right. Big up on a self. All right. Let me see now. Now, first of all, we're going to break down everything that was said. Okay. Before we go into the rationale behind it. Now, I want Una to like up the live, first of all, so that's going to bring up the algorithms and make people aware that we are here. But also, I want you to share this live. I want this live to go very far. So even though I have 53, now 56 of us, I want this live to go far. So share the live as Una come in, right? So that when we go down into this, it will spread far and wide. Okay. So the first thing we're going to speak about is the accused stolen intellectual property that was raised by Wayne with reference to Andre Stevens's business ownerships. Now, we are under the impression that Andre Stevens is not only an accomplished blogger, but that he is also an accomplished businessman when it comes to the fashion industry and the culinary arts. So as far as we know, as far as we knew, I should say, Andre Stevens was or is still the owner of Premier Gentleman and also the current owner of a catering company. All right. Now, based on the commentary in the live of Wayne, the ex-producer of Pawdna TV yesterday, he is claiming that such ownership was more or less falsified because his name is not on the business documents or the loans that were taken to start the business. Because he could not be a part of the credit checking process due to his lack of employment, that O'Dane is the person who financed and established both Premier Gentleman and the catering company. We were also told that all those delicious recipes that Andre Stevens perpetuates on his catering side of business was stolen intellectual property from the current winner of catering company of 2023, Jackie Tyson. Now, these are interesting allegations. But once again, you know how Head Teacher K operates. It is one thing to hear what we consider to be hearsay. It's another thing to have evidence. What I was looking for in ex-producer Wayne's live yesterday was a balance of emotion and fact. I expected him to come out blazing because I knew that he was angry. But I wanted that temperament to be balanced with some hardcore information. I did not see any evidence of the stolen intellectual property, and I even went as far back as 2016 on Jackie Tyson's social media accounts to see if I could see some similar recipes or, products being advertised as those that I have seen on Andre's page and the things that he has said previously in lives. What I would say is that they were similar in terms of the fusion cuisine approach of taking traditional items, up-leveling them and making them posh. Yes, I saw that as a common thread. But I didn't quite see exactly the same recipes, okay? Not to say that he did not get inspired by Jackie Tyson. But I'm going to play for you something that we should know already, but some of you may have missed. And this is Andre Stevens speaking about his relationship with Jackie Tyson.
I worked with a woman.
Thumbs up if you can hear.
Her name is Jackie Tyson. Beautiful woman. I was her executive assistant for almost a year and a half. Can you put up her picture, Jamaica? Producer, can you put up her picture? And Jackie Tyson only paid me $40,000, and I worked Sunday to Sunday with her as her executive assistant, as her event planner, as her right hand. So when people are going to talk, I say, they might get $40,000. It resonated with me because I had to carry Jackie Tyson. No wonder why I love a big bag. Because Jackie Tyson taught me the importance of carrying a big bag for events. So me have my big bag and me have Jackie Tyson big bag I walk with all our culinary knife, them with everything, and a 3 big bag Jackie Tyson have. Three big bag Jackie Tyson have. And me have to carry every one of them and me work from Sunday to Sunday. And I saw how a lot of people were exploited. You see all our wait staff then. We can't talk some things with Jackie Tyson do me tonight. We can't talk the things that my Jackie Tyson do me tonight. But it's not my duty to talk all of those things. Sometimes I see some great people and then business I do well, but them not pay people. Them not look out for the poor people. I was her executive assistant. I came in at 7:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30 at morning time. Checked her email, organized her day, make sure that all her meetings, every email was responded to, every client was responded to. I planned her menus, I executed everything. I gave event briefing for everything. And when I see all driver, I get $80,000 fortnight. Me, Andre Stevens, I get $40,000 for the month. Driver, when I have CXC subject, I get $80,000. And me, where was the head cook and back to wash, organizer. So I know a lot of secretaries in this country. A lot of secretaries, a lot of caregivers, a lot of cooks who watch me not deserve $40,000 in a COVID and after pandemic in a 2023. When $40,000, when them go a Price Smart, for them Price Smart bill at $350,000 just to buy things for an event. And me, we are organize your day, follow up all your calls, make sure all of your corporate clients them get responded to. We make them personalize the email and then think of Jackie them a talk to. No, me do everything for this woman. When she done, she dash her Campari and her Red Bull pan me. She treat me like garbage. Dash, do this. Tell me back, come out here. Come out this night. Out. Come the office. And when everything was done to perfection, no, you cannot leave. No, sit in your chair. You cannot leave. I must left work 6 o'clock, 5:30. No, you can, where are you going? Are you mad? Going where? It can't work, Andre. You can't leave the event. Shut up your mouth. Shame in front of Wave staff. Shame in front of Sagicor. Shame in front of Digicel. And me have to take all of that shame there just to make my boss look good. Shut up. Licking in your head. Lick you. Shut up your mouth. I was just coming out of War 21. And I was just trying to get back on my feet. A lot of the lessons were bitter, but they were lessons that I needed to be taught.
Right, people. So you heard it. That was his recount of his history and how things kind of obviously fell apart between himself and Jackie Tyson. And obviously it sounds like a typical tale of abuse between employer and employee. He speaks about being underpaid, treated quite aggressively. Now, I did a bit of digging when it came to Jackie Tyson herself. I looked through the comments to see if there were any previous employees who had similar experiences with her. Several resounded with Andre. Now, this is not to say that these things are not opinions and that they may not necessarily be concrete facts. But of course, in Jamaica, we have a saying, if it no go so, a near so, not true, right? And at the end of the day, if several people are pointing fingers, saying the same things, claiming that they had such experiences, it is not far-fetched to imagine that this was Andre's reality. Now, could it be that the intellectual property that Wayne was referring to, that was stolen by Andre, allegedly? Is it that he felt justified to actually do this because, or based on the abusive relationship that he had with his previous boss? It doesn't take away the fact that Andre may have skills in the culinary arts and is capable of actually, providing various menus and recipes, right? But it gives some kind of motive in terms of why it is that he may have done the things that he has done. Whether they're right or wrong is another question. All right, let's move on to the next one. So, victimized people. That's correct. Yes, that's what I'm kind of hearing in terms of the relationship between him and Jackie Tyson. We're going to move on from that, okay? And we're going to look particularly at the claim of Andre, because I am literally going through this in chronological order based on how Wayne presented it. The claim that Andre Stevens was known to expose himself to his employees, okay? And and that basically this was unsolicited and it was done in front of Monique and Chantel. Now, this claim obviously is about unsolicited nudity, which is in itself is perverse. Whether or not Monique and Chantel were offended by this is left for Monique and Chantel to say. We don't necessarily know the kind of relationship and the kind of familiarity that exists between Andre and these two ladies. I do recall a particular live where Andre was out in his yard and Chantel had touched him, be it appropriately or not, on his private area, and he started shouting with glee, Chantel, touch me on me whatever. Chantel, touch me on me whatever. And it was done in jest. They seem to have this normal kind of familiarity where that is concerned. Even if some of us found it to be rather perverse, they seem to be comfortable with each other in that respect. Now, as much as it might be Wayne's opinion that such behavior is despicable, until I hear his staff coming forward to say that this is offensive to them and that they do not appreciate what Andre does,
Until then, it is very subjective. Remember now, guys, this is not about whether or not me like Wayne or me like Andre. So don't even start on that. I am talking specifically about this is the claim that he has made. I am looking at the evidence provided and whether or not I can run with something here. And as a blogger, I cannot look in a tunnel visioned way. You understand me? I am looking at it in terms of this is what I have seen on Andre's live. That kind of relationship seems to be mutual and they don't seem to take offense from what I can observe. So until these two ladies come forward and make some kind of complaint, I really don't have anything to sink my teeth in other than Wayne's subjective view on their behavior. Moving on. Now, Wayne then went on to speak about the fact that there was a recruitment of bloggers from the month of September till today's date. Hold on a second. Simone says, but today I saw Andre and Chantel working today on Facebook, so I guess they're good. Exactly. So anyway, let me move on. Because working together, as much as it may appear that all is well, sometimes people do things for money. But, you know, as I said, until these women come forward, I don't really have anything to say. So he claims that there was a recruitment from the month of September till today's date for a tear-down campaign against Wayne. He has specifically mentioned certain bloggers' names. I will not mention them. Please do not write them in the comments. But one particular one, whom he tends to refer to quite frequently in his recent life since his whole mental and emotional breakdown, has been putting up particular blogs where he is calling out specific people. One of which was his second to last blog, was specifically aimed at Grandma. During that particular live, he certainly referred to the ex-producer Wayne in a very derogatory way. Now, he also made it clear in that blog that he had spoken to Andre at length, which suggests or implies that there is a collusion between himself and that blogger in order to ensure that the content that is put out is fitting, according to Andre. He is also, you know, referring to quotations or things that Andre may have said and so on and so forth. So it does suggest that there is a coaching taking place. This is then reinforced with Andre Stevens's actual live, where he was dressed in full white, which took place immediately after Wayne, the ex-producer's live last night. In that particular live, when he was dressed in full white, he made it clear to that particular blogger that he does not wish to see him behaving in a derogatory manner on ex-producer Wayne's live. But he expects him to go on the mountain, and I quote, eat the snake alive. This also implies to me that there is coaching taking place of that particular blogger. I cannot speak on any other bloggers because as much as there is evidence that there are commentaries being made on the ex-producer in a negative way, I am not 100% certain that this is necessarily as a result of Andre's influence, but perhaps because of their passion for their blogger, they run out in his defense, therefore attacking anybody in the wake. But certainly with this particular blogger, who was very confrontational on ex-producer Wayne's live last night, there is clear and specific evidence of coaching taking place. And it is clear that the coaching that's taking place took place before this whole revelation occurred. So to me, where that is concerned, the ex-producer Wayne is justified in his emotional response
that Andre Stevens is aligning particular bloggers against him and using them to fight his battle. It isn't a lie. The evidence is right there. So, in terms of him coming out to defend himself, in that respect, it's justified. All right, let me move on. He then went on to speak about the fact that both himself and Grandma financed Andre Stevens's rent. His support was given, emotional support. So didn't finance that, but gave support. That Wayne himself financed restaurant salaries of staff. That Grandma monitored Andre Stevens's food bills and medication bills. And that despite all of this support and guidance, Andre Stevens has reacted in an ungrateful way. Now, what I'm going to say is this, people. I have to say this with my face. Because I've spoken about this before. It is not a strange thing. I've spoken about it before. And I've always said, I do not understand why it is that a grown man has got all of his finances being run through other adults. It doesn't make sense to me. Now, I am trying to look or think outside the box here in terms of why it is that Wayne and Grandma felt it necessary to intervene in this manner where Andre Stevens was concerned, and why it is that Andre Stevens actually went along with it to begin with. Now, if it is that we have got somebody who suffers from occasional emotional and mental breakdowns, which has similar attributes to manic behavior, manic depressive behavior, we know that one of the things that happens to somebody who has a manic episode is that when they're extremely high, as in high emotionally, feeling great, they will spend in a wanton or reckless way. So by curtailing that possibility, he was able to safeguard his finance. I am saying if he went along with it, I am looking at the potentials behind such an act. We might be saying, but no, you're a big man, you're supposed to manage your money, and if you dash your money, you dash your money, no, your business that. But I am saying perhaps Andre, in his more sober state, would have recognized that there is a time when he can be reckless with his money and could have potentially made this agreement. Otherwise, without a doubt, there would have been a stink from the get-go. But he certainly didn't have a problem prior to this whole utter collapse. He didn't have a problem with Grandma facilitating, be it monthly, weekly, whatever stipends, and handling his finance from his YouTube channel before. And I can only imagine that this was acceptable on the basis of his mental health and what potentially could happen if he had that money in his complete control. This is the only logical thing that I can come up with as to why it is a grown man would facilitate such an arrangement. Anyway, he then went on to speak about the fact that his entire tirade was about making sure that Andre Stevens does not use a pity party to pull the wool over the public's eyes. He says that it is full time that he faces the music, and he has declared open warfare on Andre Stevens' character. He has also made it clear that he himself suffers from mental health disorders, or a mental health disorder, and it's certified. whereas he is unsure or uncertain of Andre's certification in mental health illness. He believes that Andre's mental health is an act and that Andre simply does this as an illusion for attention. Now, let me tell you something. As much as I can understand that Wayne may be being very emotional here because he was enraged, I'm going to say this. Andre's behavior is definitely evidence of a mental health disorder. It may not necessarily be a mental health disorder as he claims. Like, I don't know if he has claimed schizophrenia. I don't know what he has claimed. But certainly, even if he wasn't a manic depressive, he wasn't bipolar, the fact that he would be so narcissistic in order to ensure that all eyes were on him and would do anything, including create an illness in order to get that attention, is a sickness in itself. That is not normal behavior, graduates. It isn't. So even if we're going to go down that route and say, Ima make it up, Ima do it for likes, Ima do it for attention, Ima do it for whatever, that to me is evidence of a sick man. Because such behavior is abnormal. And I don't believe that anybody in their sound mind would go out of their way to create an entire scenario to the public. Like, I'm crazy. I take my clothes off. I go out in the streets in half a tree. I walk naked. I stone cars and whatever. And I'm doing that for attention. That's not a normal mindset. So to say that he is creating an illusion and going to that extreme shows that there is a deep-rooted mental health illness. So I don't think it is fair or it's plausible to say that it is completely non-existent. I wouldn't agree with that. I would say that perhaps there is a deeper element of manipulation behind his display, but all of it links back to some type of mental health disorder. Okay. There's no way. Let me see some of the comments. You're so on point. Head teacher is so manipulative. See how he does on Andrew and he Australian, how university tuition up to the day he took sick. He only had 5 credits leave when he took sick. I don't know. I don't understand your comment, Joanne Buller. So you're going to have to break that down. Andre had spoke before he have his YouTube channel that Wayne helped him with finances, also grandma. That's right. What's Wayne professional background? Psychiatry. Clearly not heat. I understand that Wayne is upset, but all Andrew screws it right. No, his screws are definitely not together at all. Now, he then went on to speak about the fact that Andre is a loose cannon, that he has no structure, and that as a result of not having any of him and Andre splitting or, parting ways, the structure has totally disintegrated, and that his loose cannon behavior has upped another level. But I'm going to say this. In terms of Andre's current state of mind in comparison to how things were when they were going through the heat of their bangarang, Andre is more settled now than then. When they were going through their separation was when he was at his worst. He would certainly display at least 5 or 6 different emotions within the split of 10 minutes. He would go from smiling to crying to screaming, all of that, while they were in the heat of it. However, subsequently, and I'm talking about for the past how many weeks, he has definitely displayed a different standard of behavior. So I don't agree that currently he has no structure. I would say, yes, there was a lot of emotion. Yes, which is why it's important for the public to hear a picking out of what is emotion and what is true. Because the thing is that everybody, when them head chip, them say, well, what if things? Sometimes the things them not make sense. Sometimes the thing them not real. Sometimes them exaggerated, embellished. So let us break it down so we can fully understand what's taking place. All I'm saying is Andre has definitely displayed a different level of behavior, of emotional control. Not to say it is 100% there, but it is better than when everything was coming out. You heard about his page being hacked. You heard about his YouTube channel. He can't get access, and he was going out of control. And certainly with the recent, the death of Heather, he was even worse, right? So I would not say that right now there is no structure. Now, as to whether or not he is still a loose cannon, I am going to say I still see elements of loose cannon behavior in Andre's contents. Uvex. There are still elements of loose cannon behavior in Andre's contents. And it shows that he's still not 100% well. Like when he came out and was speaking about Miss Kitty and her pregnancy. Unhinged. Some of the things that Andre comes out and says are the kind of things that can get him into trouble. You understand me? And you can clearly see that he says things flippantly, without thought of consequence. He does not think about the impact of his words on other people. I've also witnessed him bite at people who call in at the wrong time, or they have got the live going in the background and so on, and then hold it in. I see it. And he's basically not trying to be that Andre at the moment because he now has to work from the ground up. The question is he holding it in purely because he's creating an impression of being a little bit more humble? So, but when he rises again, you're going to get all of that? Or is he genuinely working on himself? So to say that he's a loose cannon, I do not believe is an unfair comment. I do think that Andre needs to think before he speaks, and that there needs to be guidance around some of his utterances. And if this was not the case, he would not be paying damages in a defamatory suit. He wouldn't. So at the end of the day, while the no structure part isn't correct, the loose cannon part is, to a point. He then went on to talk about the fact that the team from Pawdna TV did not wish to align their reputation around Andre as he was drifting deeper into a spiral. He said some very interesting things at that point, because at that point when he spoke about that, people, I listened carefully. And he said, who would in their right mind was going to be around you when you were carrying on like this? Who was going to sit back and allow you to tarnish their image, their reputation with the things that you were saying and doing? There was no way anybody had any time for that. And the question that instantly came into my mind was, ex-producer Wayne, did you have anything to do with advising Grandma around the deletion of the YouTube channel? Because instantly that's the question that came to the forefront of my mind. Did you advise Grandma that because of the need to protect her image, her integrity, and all of that, and potentially avoid getting sued, did you advise her to delete it? It's a question I'm asking. Because the fact that you in a way, are basically saying that you did not wish to have the team that moved away, did not wish to have their reputation aligned with his behavior. As he was drifting deeper into a spiral, suggests to me, because I can see, and this is from the little I know of you, Wayne, that you are a very systematic and structured thinker. I see it, So you would be thinking logically, what can be done for damage control? Did you advise Grandma and her team over there to actually delete the channel? And if so, is there an equal knowledge around why it is that the media material has not been handed over to Andre Stevens? Anyway, you then went on to speak about the fractures that were taking place in the team. And there was one particular thing that jumped out at me. You said that they had to get rid of you. He had to get rid of you. Because to get rid of you meant that there was no pushback, no reining in, no arguing, and that he could just basically give his orders without anybody challenging him. And that your presence was always a challenge. And that he ousted you out of the Pawdna Draw TV team in preference of the junior producer. And you also went as far as to reveal that voice note about the junior producer. I'm not going to go too much into that because, as you know, and as everybody else knows, the junior producer is a minor. And the only questions I'm going to raise around that is, why didn't you mute the child's name? I wish you had. And that you still have within your power to go through your video and mute the sound wherever his name appears. This is about protecting a minor and ensuring that there is no bullying in the future, because we know that Jamaica is not a safe place. I'm also aware that in that voice note, Andre Stevens made it clear that he had similar characteristics to this child, that he saw in him what was a part of Andre's personality, that he recognized that this child had a similar kind of singing voice, high-pitched, and that he himself was thrown out of his childhood home because, or at least he was scorned by his parents because of his homosexuality. Now, all of those can imply a lot of things. So please go through your video, even though I am hearing in the discourse, you made it clear that you got permission. You still have a duty of care to protect a child. I don't have a problem with you speaking about it, but the name needs to come out. But anyway, I'm going to ask the question. So you said you've given us evidence that Andre chose the junior producer over yourself. How did that make you feel? Was your relationship with the junior producer always a positive one? Because based on just that, if I knew that I was losing my job, that I invested blood, sweat, and tears in over a sustained period of time, expecting to get some kind of compensatory reward after a period of time according to agreements, and only to have that terminated just before it was due to ripen, only to learn that I was being replaced by a child, I would feel deep resentment, not necessarily towards the child, but certainly towards my partner, my business partner. That could never have been a good feeling. And I'm going to ask the public to show some empathetic thought processes and put yourself in that shoes just for one moment. And I know some of you are going to resist doing it because you are such fans of Andre. And some of you who hate Wayne, like say Wayne thief on a white fowl. But I'm saying just try for a split moment to put yourself in that position. You've invested your time. You've helped to build somebody. You have given all of your hours, your spare hours, to somebody to make them great. You have an agreement that you should be getting your compensation after a period of time. And then just before that period of time comes to maturity, you are ousted out of your position and replaced by a child. How would that make you feel? So, given that emotive process, if this is the case, and there is no doubt that you would have felt a real way about that, and then you have gone and you've released that voice note in particular to do with this young man, there's two ways that it can be looked at here, Wayne. And this is some hardcore truth here. It can be looked at that, listen, I'm not angry with the child, but I'm angry with Wayne, so with Andre, so I've released it to show that Andre has abused this child. Even though this child was supposed to be my replacement, he received an even more unjust reaction from Andre than when I left. Two, I'm going to release this voice note with the boy's name, because this little boy never have no right to step in a big people business. I'm showing you how it can look from either side, you know. So I'm imploring that you take that child's name out of your video, edit it. But for the public, we are understanding that it is a normal reaction for somebody to be embittered about being fired or, removed from a position in favor of somebody who is your junior, right? So let me take a look at some of the comments. Some of these psych people just don't have any respect for anyone, manipulative much. True thing before he speaks, agree to. She also said Andre doesn't finish anything. I'll get to that. And why not return his content to him? Good question. Oh my God, I believed in him wholeheartedly until I found out about his mental illness. He just can't help himself. God help him. Yes, please like up the live. Grandma Grandma said that Andre was an employee. So how can the employee be sued with the employer? Wayne's background is in law, so he should know to protect the minor's identity. Correct, yes. As a law school graduate, Wayne should know better. I see why he's upset, but Wayne is taking it too far. It would make me bitter and want to do anything to destroy my partner. That's it, Tweety Bird. I totally understand it. I'd be so mad at him. Absolutely. Come on, guys. Please give Head Teacher K some likes. Yes, please. 236 of you guys on the live. Please like up the live. All right? Head Teacher K not asking them for show no pretty scream or dash the money my way. No see me pin, no cash up, nothing. The least una can do is like up the live before me go in at the rest of this. Right? You are here absorbing the content and enjoying the time. Please like up the live. I appreciate you. Tammy, pick up yourself. You couldn't call me. All right. So we're going to move on. So we got to the point where he revealed the voice notes, which we all know that voice note was ridiculous. And I'm not going to take it back. It was extremely emotionally abusive. But I do have some questions. The first voice note that was revealed spoke about this child lying. And it spoke about the fact that he could not trust him anymore because he claimed to have either lied or done a prank. And he went on to speak about how pranksters are usually, getting themselves into trouble, be it that they're arrested or whatever. and that it brings doubt into teacher's mind. So he's showing the young man that he doesn't trust him based on some displayed behavior that would equate to either a prank or a lie. What was this prank or lie about? That it was so serious for Andre to then turn around and say that he doesn't trust him and it has brought doubt into his mind and so on and so forth. That was the first part of the voice note. I don't know if it was on two separate occasions or if it was on the same occasion but chopped in two. That was also not made clear. So Wayne, if you are presenting us with evidence like this, I would really appreciate it if you gave some background context before you revealed it, because this particular voice note is in response to an incident which you gave no background for. So I do not know if that initial voice note was justified based on whatever it is that this young man had done. However, the second voice note that you played was horrendous. There was a tirade of abuse, an onslaught of tactical guilt-mongering from Andre Stevens. He used his words as psychological warfare on a child. And at the end of the day, we all know that a child is not to be handled like that. That kind of stuff can drive fear. You also revealed a voice note where he was talking about the fact that he was not going to beat him in the physical world, but he was going to beat him spiritually. Now that suggests some kind of phobia, because he went on to talk about the fact that the young man know what he mean by that. So I did not like that at all. And somebody needs to make it clear to Andre that these kind of things that he does and says are dangerous. At the end of the day, if it is that he's admonishing a minor, that amount of Andre for a minute then, huh? Back to Andre for a minute. To the mother of that minor, may I ask you a question? Are you okay? Head teacher can ask you if you're all right. If you're all right, you know, in yourself emotionally or financially. Are you okay? Because for one thing, my 15-year-old boy nah go hang out with no grown man. But him I do no work on a YouTube channel, you know. That nah go happen. My child at 15, and I've no doubt it would have been from before he turned 15 as well, he would have been aware of it. This is still young. My child would not be on no one-to-one conversation like this outside of office settings and hours with no grown man that is not him father or in blood relative. I protective like that of my kids until they get to that age of consent, that age of maturity, which is 16, then 18, fully adults. Them under my jurisdiction. I'm going to be aware of as much as I possibly can be aware of. 16, 15, I'm supposed to focus on him book. More specifically, I'm supposed to get ready for him exams. Now, we all know that Andre Stevens is a declared homosexual. Now, this is not to say or to suggest that anything untoward may have taken place. But we know the society that we live in is very suspicious of such relationships. What kind of protective measure have you taken to ensure that this young man is not exposed to bullying on the outside of this dynamics? I am just asking. because Jamaica is not an easy place when it comes to homophobia. So that is Andrea's side. Because Andre did not give birth to this boy. This is not his kid. This is somebody else picnic. So to me, the parental responsibility, the protection, the duty of care should come from that child's parents. To stop such kind of communications from taking place, or at least to ensure that whoever dares to do it is brought into questioning and given a strong reprimand and told very quickly and severely to stay away from a picnic. But anyway, he then went on to speak to us, graduates, about the fact that he was accused of stealing money and other people were accused of taking his money. I would have imagined that he's implying grandma. And that Andre Stevens is in fact the victim of poor financial management. In other words, self-executed issues with his money. That he has employed 30 members of staff. Now, I do not understand why in God's name Andre Stevens would need 30 members of staff at all. And that man not have no big building around no business. I don't get that. It's like you have a whole mini call center there. So if it is true, that is a waste of money. So anyway, he has 30 members of staff. He then went on to tell us in more detail about 8 of the 30. He named these particular people, Miss Claudette, as the driver. Now, many of you know Miss Claudette from the big platform holder, 33x3 page. But she is now fully in the service of Andre Stevens. He then spoke about Tanya, who is the administrator. And then Mr. McLean, who is the security guard. Then he made reference to Chantel, who is the home helper. And then, interestingly, he refers to Karen Harriet. So Karen Harriet, and for those of you who don't know who Karen Harriet is, if you noticed in Wayne's live, he called her Tiny Whiny. Tiny Whiny is a character that she played in around 1994 when she was on the Royal Palm Estate series. She is a guru in the acting industry. And although she took a 5-year hiatus, she returned with a vengeance. She has done several plays, including Bangarang in an Auntie Donna house. Right? Bangarang in an Auntie Donna house. She was there. Now, Karen Harriet is being accused by Wayne of being a spiritual advisor who receives payments from Andre Stevens' coffers. And by spiritual advisor, he brought that down even more. And then he said she is the Obia Walker, a known one, who has inspired Andre to go off and buy rum, fruit, and all sorts for rituals. That money has been wasted on things like that. He said, of course, that the junior producer was also paid. And although he doesn't pay Jusset, his hairdresser, he has a private masseuse who gives him a massage with a happy ending 3 times a week. Now, the only thing that jumped out at me from that accusation was that I do recall very clearly Andre Stevens saying on a live that he has denied himself his sexuality to avoid slander in the political and public arena. So if what is alleged is true, he is still indulging in his natural urges. And nothing really wrong with that, to be honest. I mean, to be honest, who in God's name told him not to indulge in the first place? I don't know who did. I'm sure nobody did. Everybody has urges, be it that he's homosexual or not. Nobody asked him to give those up. He chose to do that, or at least to present that story to the public. Now, if he is presenting that story, but then in closed doors, he's doing something else in truth, if it is in truth, that shows that he is very capable of painting a picture that does not exist. If that alleged story is factual and that he is indeed doing such behind closed doors and is too, be it ashamed or embarrassed to admit that he has his moments like anybody else, then no doubt he has assigned a kind of covertness to who he truly is. Now I'm going to put Andre's background into the picture. The fact that he was rejected by parents because of his sexual orientation. That would in itself have brought a burden of guilt, a kind of anger towards his parents based on what, based on his gender, his gender preference. It would have taught him the lesson that his homosexuality is something that he should hide or should not be proud of. So I believe it is a normal and natural response to not necessarily want to reveal that to the public, to prefer to keep it on the down low. Now, when you do something like that, you are repressing yourself. By repressing yourself, your urges build up and become excessive. Because you are not free to express yourself openly in the public eye. Repression can lead to perverted behaviors. And that is a fact. So it isn't surprising that should this have taken place, that it did. But what I'm trying to say, people, is that while that evidence of deception shows that Andre is capable of twisting the truth and presenting a picture to the public when in fact in private he's doing something else, what I'm going to say is that it still could just be on that particular situation because of his experiences in his household when he was a child. All right. He speaks a lot about the fact that he is incapable of finishing anything that he starts. That he starts everything and that it never comes to fruition. And as a result of that, he is basically incapable of achieving sustained success. That his treatment of others is so disrespectful that eventually everybody around him will falter and move away. He has particularly warned Claudette. He has said that his leaning on her, his constant bigging up, same for Miss Janet, is a warning that they should mark on the wall, because eventually, he must say, it will end up in the very same space that he's in. Now, so far, we have seen an Andre that is very dependent on the matriarchs that are around him currently. And this Andre that is very dependent on these matriarchs is an Andre that is in need. He is still trying to function. He's still trying to regain his footing. He has more or less eaten humble pie due to what he considers injustices that have taken place where he's concerned. And as such, he needs a young army. And by young, I mean new. The support system around him is crucial and critical to his evolution. Now, given the fact that I accept that Andre Stevens is mentally unwell, I believe the warning issued by producer Wayne is valid. I believe that people need to be aware of the fact that there is some element of narcissism, manic behavior, depression that will be unhinged when not under control. And therefore, anybody around him is at risk when things do not go Andre Stevens' way. You have heard it with how he dealt with a child, people. You cannot deny that if he does this with a child, with an adult, it will be 10 times worse. 10 times worse. So the warning is valid. He also went on to speak about the fact that Dr. Nesbitt allegedly has poisoned Andre against his mother. I won't comment on that because there was certainly not enough evidence presented in that live. The audio was dreadful. It was impossible to decipher. And even when I looked at the file and took the file and tried to break it apart, it was impossible to gather what was being said and the purpose of it. So all I'm going to say is I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to park it. He speaks about the fact that Dr. Nesbitt was an aspiring JLP politician and she's on a cycle of failure herself, having put forward herself for election to the party and failed on several occasions. Now, interesting, the conflict of interest in that dynamic, because certainly we know that Andre Stevens is a staunch PNP, or at least that's how he appears to the public, even if he doesn't claim that on voice notes. But when it comes to Dr. Nesbitt, she's going for the opposite side. So is it that they're both colluding in order to take down one man that they both despise, which is Andrew Holness? That's a question I'd like to ask. Wayne refers to Andre as a growing Kevin Smith with a lot of cult followers who already know that he is working Obia, but turn a blind eye to it. He accused him of using God so that the public will throw money in his direction. Now, I'm sorry. I have seen evidence of Scientology and I have seen evidence of spiritualism that is not necessarily aligned with Christianity. And I've also seen evidence of the fact that Andre Stevens' followers on the majority turn a blind eye to the fact that not all of the behaviors in the past were aligned with godliness. I have heard that voice note where he requested the dancehall queen Carlene to turn up with 3 other people. It has to be 3. And anybody who has read or have any knowledge of spiritualism understands that 3 is the devil's number. Perhaps you reject it because you don't wish to believe it. But hopefully, even given the fact that we have seen a leaked video of him breaking a shrine in his house with fruits and coconuts on the floor, hopefully he will move on from this kind of negative energy entrapment. But so far, what Wayne has said there is not impossible, because Andre has a grip on his followers. They hang on every word and every influence that he sends their way. So it is not surprising if he has the power of influence that is similar to that of Kevin Smith. Now, as to whether or not he could get somebody to take their life, that's another question. But he certainly could get them to follow him to the ends of the earth and back. Because if they can turn a blind eye to that and pretend as though that's nothing, and then in one breath he's talking about God, that is something else in itself. Wayne has told us he has 1 year and 5 months worth of recordings, people. And then he went into a tirade about that blogger. So he spoke quite openly about 2 bloggers. And as I said, I'm not calling them names. I refer to the fact that I agreed that there was coaching taking place of one particular blogger on YouTube. But you know what? I'm going to say, I listened to that blogger's style. And mighty God, it's very similar to Andre's. A lot of the things that are being said, the expressions, down to the mere structure of the audience, head boy, head girl, prefix, class. Some of those expressions very similar to Andre. When one person is absent from a space where they occupied it well, and then they go quite suddenly, there is always another rising to take its place. And I clearly see exactly what Wayne sees, that it is highly likely that this blogger reckons they are the next Andre Stevens. I'm going to take that back. Because anybody with common sense that takes a look at that channel, how it's structured, the things that are said, how it presents itself, will see that there is a mimicking of style. The question is, how long will it take for a narcissistic character to swallow that, especially if this person starts to grow? Because if you were disturbed by the growth of your protege, whose successes you did not share with the public, and that would be Monique Baines, then how are you going to feel about somebody else wanting to be yet another Andre? And don't tell me, Andre's followers, that he would be all right with it. Because he has, on many occasions in his lives, gone for bloggers who think that they dare to measure up to him, including Shelley Coran. He has gone for her thinking, telling her straight, you think you can be the next Andre? Never. So I believe that should this blogger rise too much, it is going to be a problem. And I'm doing that on the basis of previous behavior. So make that blogger go and do what he do. The Andre that we know, it's only a matter of time. So I do not think, Wayne, that you need to really pay attention to this particular blogger, because history has an interesting way of repeating itself. Now, I have one thing for ask, Wayne, what I'm not happy about. Yes, man, I have something for ask you what I'm not happy about at all. You said that you have no problem with your HIV status being discussed. You said that Andre Stevens knows that you have publicly discussed your status, and that the revelation is nothing to you because you have no shame. Now that shocks me. Because at the end of the day, a lot of us were really upset, including myself, that Andre Stevens dared to do that, to reveal your status to the world. And here you are saying that this was not even your issue. So why allow us to get all up in a tizzy about it when you're fine with it? If you had already discussed all of this in public already, then certainly it should not be a part of the discourse in terms of what upsets you with Andre. And when mentioned on other platforms, perhaps that was your opportunity to challenge that and say, no, I never have no problem with that, you know. I know you guys might be upset about it, but where I am concerned, it was perfectly fine. I don't think it was fair to allow us to get ourselves so worked up over something that you couldn't care less about. So that is one thing I did not like at all. Now, you spoke about the fact that Claudette needs to be careful. We're going to go in at the party now. You said that Claudette needs to be careful because Claudette is being brought close so that Andre Stevens can take down 33 times 3. You once again did not give any evidence, I suppose, because that's one of the protected voice notes. But you see them protected voice notes there? I don't know what your reasoning is behind protecting them. Maybe because you respect the people who are behind it. But really and truly, unless there's something damning and you've already taken that stance, it's going to leave a question in people's minds. And that questioning in people's minds might do more harm than good. And that's a fact. You have already gone down the road of a tirade. You have lost the plot in terms of thinking logically. In terms of your motivation behind all of this, it was pure vengeance. I am not going to tell you, Wayne, to rein yourself in. It's not my job. You are a grown man. You must know why you are doing what you are doing. I am not going to tell you to take the high road because you have been told this many times. You have made the decision that it is time for you to go low and lower. Your last life was definitely a low. And you have promised that you will go lower. I thought that a good reason behind you being this way was the fact that you had your status revealed. But then to hear that you have no problem with your HIV status being revealed, I am now questioning your motivation. Why is it that you are doing this? Is it because the other bloggers are calling your name in a derogatory way and acting on Andre Stevens' behalf, according to you? Is it because you feel as though you were cast aside still, so you're having this rejection? Is it because you witnessed somebody moving on, promising to return to YouTube, and you are not comfortable that you have received enough in terms of satisfying consequences for the things that he has done? I can understand you not respecting what he's doing, but I'm questioning your motive in terms of why. But then you did answer. You said that he came for the queen, and that when you come for the queen of the hive, then all the bees are going to go up in arms. And that makes it open season on Andre Stevens' character. Anytime, any place. But do you know how that sounds? It sounds like grandma sent you out. It doesn't sound as though you are fighting necessarily on your own behalf. It sounds as though somebody is pulling strings because you made explicit reference to Queen Bee. And the attack on the Queen came in the form of that blogger's second to last post, where the Queen, as in Grandma's picture, was plastered on a thumbnail, where she was accused of being underhand with Andre's money. And I'm not going to be mincing my words. I didn't like that. I like it when somebody is fighting their fight for themselves and have their own issue that they want to attack. If you are fighting on behalf of a positive cause, then that affects everybody. But I don't like the fact that it's implied that because an attack was made against Grandma, the Queen Bee, you are going to roll out with any and every level of law. Why are you so protective of Grandma that she can't represent herself? What is it that Grandma has done in your life that has made you be like this, that you are going to go all out, even beyond when it was about you? Because you're telling us that your status doesn't matter, your revelation of your status doesn't matter. Because even Andre knows that you have spoken about it in public before. And there I was, and no doubt several others, thinking that the reason why I'm angry and he lose it, and him head chip, is because the man got tell the world about him status. But you blatantly said it in your life, that it's not an issue. And a part of me feel deceived. Me not lie. But anyway, you broke down the finances when you were talking about Andre and whether or not he was robbed of his money and why it is that he had very little money left, etc., right? I'm going to talk about the finance part. So you're saying that in total from the channel, there was around $85,000 US dollars earned, okay? That at the time there was $85,000 US dollars earned. And that was before the back to school. That Andre submitted a budget of $10,000 plus $5,000, so about $15,000 US, in order to execute the back to school. Mathematicians want to do the maths for now one, Make sure you do the calculation, because me do my calculation and sit now add up. All right? All right. So $10,000 plus $5,000, so that's $15,000. And instead, Andre did not use $15,000, but in fact went ham and used over $35,000 on the back to school. $35,000 US dollars. So I'm going to ask you this. How is it that this grandma, who is supposed to have such control over the purse strings, how is it that she allowed him to eat so much into his $85,000 just on a back to school? Clearly, she was not holding the reins that tightly. All right. So then Wayne said that he had around $60,000 left. Now, if he only spent $35,000, if he spent 35, actually you said the words were used over 35,000. So I would imagine it's 35,000 a mash. Now, if he spent 35,000 from 85,000, that leaves about 50,000, not 60,000, 50,000. But then you said there was about 65,000 left. And then you were paid 18,000 US dollars for your services. And then you said there was another $40,000 left. So I'm assuming an additional 10,000 was made in the matrix as a result of time. and viewings for that balance to go back up to 60,000, as in another 10,000 was added. Makes sense if that is the case. You said that Andre goes on a spending spree. He also buys friendship. Lots of things ordered from Amazon. That he pays money to seek dirt on characters. So you mean to tell me that if he want to find out information, like when he wanted to find out information on Shelly Quran, he was willing to spend 20,000 Jamaican dollars on a domestic worker of Shelly Quran's to get information. But you see, once again, Wayne, you're telling us all of this, but we still have no evidence. All of this is based on stuff you're saying. So you see, as much as I want to roll out and say, okay, we finally have some accounts. We finally have some money balancing checks and balances to say, yeah, man, this did happen and him have this little bit left and then him have to pay 20 people and ray. It is impossible to defend it because the one thing that can prove all of the financial handing overs or the monies that were earned is not being presented. And that is the YouTube statements. In the YouTube studio, you can only see your potential estimated earnings, but certainly in your Google AdSense account, every month when Google pays you from YouTube, they generate an income statement that tells you how much you have earned for that month. Certainly up until the point where the channel was deleted, there should be evidence of all the payments and the earnings in the form of PDF statements, downloadable and printable. So all those downloadable documents should have been sent to Andre to say, this is the total of your money. So that there would have been no doubt in his mind about how much he earned, how much he spent, and how much was left. Is it that this information was passed on to Andre? And Andre has not brought it to the public because he doesn't want the public to know about his spending sprees? Is it that this information is being withheld because she doesn't have to send him she has a copy. She has the original for herself. She always has access to the AdSense account. So it doesn't affect her taxes. It's just about the knowledge because all the taxes are already deducted, people. They're already deducted. When you sign up your documentation and say that you're an American citizen, you sign up your tax form. The tax get taken out. So any other taxes that are taking place would be on the basis of expenses and things that she's running through her business. So I want to know why it is that he doesn't have the documents to say, this is how much you earned. This is how much was spent. This is how much is the balance. And if he's receiving that, and claiming that he has received a pittance as he did on that young blogger's live, or not live, well, on his video, because I watched it after. If it is that he received a pittance as he told this young man, then how is it that Andre Stevens is not challenging that to see the documentation? Apparently, according to Wayne, Andre has policemen on his payroll for his dirty work. Boy, I tell you, payola is not a good thing. It's corruption. It is corruption. And if that is the case, then that is something very illegal and illicit. But you see, in Jamaica, connections talk. And sometimes you have got to grease palms. It is not an unheard of game. You understand me? So it would not be a surprise if that is the case. But the question is, what kind of dirty work are you referring to, Wayne? You need to be specific. You said that you place a non-disclosure agreement in order to protect everyone in that team, including a remedy for a breach. But even that did not stop Andre. And then you now say you are entitled to defend yourself. You have spoken about potential lawsuits of 2 bloggers within 3 to 6 years. But you know what I'm going to say? Wayne, if you feel you are justified, do what you have to do. But just know this. If you have voice notes and you feel you need to dash them, dash them. Me not gonna tell enough to dash them. If you want to put yourself in that position as somebody with a legal background, that is 100% on your shoulders. All it will do to the public is it will reveal some truths about the personality of Andre Stevens. It will not necessarily deter his followers, because many of them follow blindly and don't question. It will not stop him from being on Facebook necessarily, but it may hinder potential positions in the future. We know that in the higher realms of society, reputation counts. And if things that are put out there has an impact on his integrity and his reputation, it will cause him permanent damage. So even though it won't affect him in terms of his social media following per se, depending on how extreme it is, remember, it will certainly have an impact on him professionally. Now, you must know how far you want your vengeance to go and whether or not it's worth it in your eyes. You can expect the backlash of those who are fanatic fans. You can expect the probing and the questioning from bloggers like myself. And while I understand that you have several reasons to be justified in your anger, this is not what a lot of us want for you. I think the relationship is tarnished beyond repair. But like I said, I am not in a position to tell a grown man what to do and what not to do in terms of how to execute his own vengeance. I am not going to get involved in that at all. I am not here to fight on behalf of Wayne or on behalf of Andre Stevens. I believe that despite the fact that Andre Stevens has his mental health issues, he's also a man. And it's full time he stops leaning on women to fight his battles for him. It is unfortunate that that fractured relationship with his mother has stopped him from being able to fully mature in a way that he does not have to depend on matriarchs. And until such time, Andre will forever have a weakness. He needs to man up, take accountability, full accountability, handle his business independently without his mothers around him. So I'm not here to fight anybody's battles. I am only here to present an equal side of everything that is put out on social media. That's my role. But I'm going to say that where Wayne is concerned, he is capable of moving on. And be it that people think, followers, look for Billa for Andre name, blah, blah, blah. Wayne would not be the first to do so. The blogging world is very dog eat dog. And I'm sure you guys as followers are aware of this. All he will end up doing is reaping those people who absolutely despise Andre Stevens' behaviors. And they themselves will find a home where they can speak their mind without being attacked by who they regard as minions. And Andre Stevens' followers that go over there and make all kinds of trouble, like I said in the live the last time, it makes no sense. Because once you have seen that somebody has an agenda that they are set on, you do not have the power to influence it. What you can do is go back to your platform, to the person that you're celebrating, and give him the views and the watch time and the hours. But you instead end up giving the person whose perspective you cannot stand all the watch time and the hours. Make it make sense. I'm a blogger and I can go anywhere and listen to anything. But how can you say that you're an ardent fan and yet you're giving ear to the very thing that you think is a teardown of Andre Stevens? If only you're looking to be convinced. Maybe you have your doubts. And then to justify your presence, you're fighting in the comments. Now, with regards to suing the two bloggers, I'm going to speak specifically about the lady with the number. Not necessarily the other person whose behavior was vile in the comments. Not my cup of tea, sorry. But certainly the lady with the number. Now, Wayne, just as at one point you were enthralled by the ambition, the charisma, and the personality of Andre, there are still many others who are equally enthralled and still under that charm. I do not believe that you should take on everybody, because Lady with a Number is one such person. She sees the good in Andre Stevens, and she always will. But to be fair, in her last live, she blatantly mentioned that the behaviors that she has witnessed was despicable. Sometimes you need to give people some time to remove the rose-tinted glasses and to see things for what they really are. It does not necessarily mean that they will ever be on your side, but at least they will see things more clearly. I do not believe it is healthy for you to be lashing out at every single person. If you are fighting a fight, go ahead. But don't fight to the point where you drain yourself so much of integrity that absolutely no one will look at you in the same way again. Choose wisely the battles that you fight. Like I said, you're your own grown man. I'm not going to tell you not to do whatever you want to do, but just be aware of the repercussions and be prepared for the fights to come, because they're going to come. And is it worth it? Anyway, let me look at some of the comments now, guys. I'm done for the night, but let me look at some comments before me leave. Right. So let's scroll up. Andre is jealous, bad man, and envious. He even said that when I see Claudette fully with him, I had second thoughts, not what she tried to do with Donna. Carlene desperate for make deal with devil. Shelly, that is actually true. Masara may agree with you with that one, because I cannot believe that Carlene went on that phone and did what she did. That was pathetic and a low blow. No respect for that move at all. I like her teacher Kay. She can really command a room of attraction. Way to go, Kay. Big up yourself, Patricia Brown. So you really think that Donna would sit and tell her business to Andre? Only salvation last. I have no idea what it is that 99 would have said to Andre at all. And I don't know the implications of it. Wayne has said that it is one of the protected voice notes, but I believe that if you're going to dash voice notes, dash them all and done, and get it off of your conscience and release it, because whatever it is that you have and you keep in your canon will always be there. And it is always going to be there, putting questions in people's heads and doubts in people's minds. And you will always have it as ammunition, like holding something over somebody's head. Just let go the thing and done, right? Donna know exactly who Andre is, and Donna would not come out and say she don't talk to Andre about nothing about the norm. Well, there you go. Only salvation last. We can only hope so. But if it was simply something of the norm, there's no reason that Wayne says that he would need to protect it. You hear? So, let me tell you something. As I say all the time, see me and come live with me are two different things. You have no idea how deep the conversation goes, right? So we leave it at that. Andre is jealous, bad man, and envious. So we read that one already. Wayne had warned Andre to stop, but he still go on. Absolutely, because what the followers are failing to see is that even though Andre is not on his platform constantly attacking Wayne, he is arming another blogger. As I said, I can only speak for one because that's the evidence I saw, to go out and do so. He definitely is doing that. And if he wants peace in his life, he also needs to stop engaging with bloggers in this way and weaponizing their content. Don't do it. Because if you do that, this is the repercussion. Wayne is going to clap back. That's why I said I am not getting involved between these two grown men. At the end of the day, Andre must know that if he weaponize somebody, Wayne is going to lead it right back to him, and Wayne is going to react. So it's either they both are going to go high, or they're going to keep making pot shots at each other and keep getting lower and lower. Grandma did said she had to tighten up, else Andre would done all the money. Yes. Then there's the issue of IRS. I think I already addressed that. How can you talk about corruption yet he's in corruption? Exactly. That is contradictory. So in the past, based on the allegations of Wayne, if he's making all this payola, it shows that he is involved in corruption. If it is true. Now, he has not come out and he has not negated any of the things that Wayne has said, even in that live that came immediately after Wayne's. That would have been the opportune moment to come and light some fire about lies. But he didn't do so. He carried on and he said what he had to say, and then he moved on to talk about his regular political stuff. Now, at the end of the day, if it is that Andre knows that whatever these accusations are not true, I think it is worth tackling it. That is not a time to stay silent because they are blatant lies, in my opinion, right? I'm just tired of all of this. At one stage, people work together as a team. Once there has been bad blood, they should just draw the line under it all and close the chapter. And that is in the power, Alika Brata, that is in the power of the person with the powerful platform. That is in the power of the person with the majority voice. So if Andre stops, so will Wayne. And if Andre does not stop, Wayne will not stop. You understand? So as much as we all want to draw a line and we want to see it done and dusted with, the constant poking and prodding at each other is not going to lead to anything but bangarang. And while some of us might be like, Lord Jesus, drama, me bare feet, Lord, me can't wait, why, it's a kicker, all of that, really and truly, these are two human beings that are so tightly wound up emotionally about each other and their separation, that we are forgetting that there are real people that are involved here that are really hurting. Be it that one is an attacker and one is a victim. It doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, fanning the flames is not going to help. I am not going to come out, as much as I listen to some of the things that Andre say and do, and it gets me so angered. I am not going to come out here and say, Don Andre, finish him. That's not my approach, because I know that that's going to take a toll on Wayne eventually. So what is the point? There is no benefit for you in the long run. Okay, release. You've done your life, your Lego, whatever. How many more of those are you going to keep doing? If you have to do it all and done. But at some point, moving on is going to have to be a part of the equation. Has to be. Very well said, teacher. Very well said, and to the point. I mean, Andre is evil. Okay, novelette. Auntie Donna, now tell Andre nothing, point blank, period. Janet Galloway, I cannot speak for 99. I don't know about you, but I am not in 99's bedroom at night, and I am not on phone with her day in, day out. And me not swear for nobody when me no know. You hear what me I say to you? No. So if you're looking for defense of 99 here, you're not gonna get it, because I have no idea. Until I see evidence, I'm not going to believe. But if the evidence is there, we are in no position to say what was said or what was not said until such things get revealed. But Wayne has assured that that is a protected voice note. So we will never know what was said based on his word. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for attending class with Head Teacher Kay today and going through the review of Wayne's live. I believe we've told him some truths. I hope that people will eventually simply move on and get over everything. But we all know that pain is a process and it takes time to heal. So my voice is allow people to go through that process however they see fit, but to make them aware of what that process can bring in terms of consequences. As long as they have got the knowledge, it is up to them to execute that into wisdom. It is not my job or the job of my graduates to tell people to stop being whatever they want to be. We can only look on and wish these people all the best. All right. Okay. Big up on a nice, clean self. Thank you guys for coming. Before you exit class, please like up the live. Like up the live. That's all I ask. As you exit, like up the live. I appreciate every single one of you for being here today. Big up yourself, Alika Brata. Thank you to my wrenchers. Thank you so much for being here. Big up yourself, Rowena. Nicole Samuda. Bye-bye. Bye, Linda. Okay. Big up yourself, Drea. And Honeybee. All right. Once me know somebody in a Guzwa, I'll be courts. That is it. All right. Have a good night and bless up to everybody else who came on the live and spent some time with me. Bye-bye.